Hello and welcome to 5 Minutes in the Shed, episode 11 I think. Right, so continuing to get everything ready to send off for sublet to do the mains, and I've got a couple of things to do. And I've got a bit of feedback as well from my last video as well. So let's get to the bench, I'll bring you up to speed. Okay, welcome to bringing you up to speed bench cam. Before we get down to the crankcase stuff, I just wanted to point out that someone, sorry I haven't looked at the username, I can't remember, but someone mentioned that when you do the oil pump, so the last video I did the oil pump, they mentioned that when you put the ball bearings back in the housing that are on the little springs there, that what you should do is put the ball bearing in the where it sits home, and put a drift in, like that one. Put a drift on the ball bearing and give it a tap, because that makes a nice seat for the bearing. Great idea, good top tip. So I've done that, and then reassembled it all again. Yeah, brilliant, really good. And I think he also mentioned check the face of this, it was all nice and flat, which it is. So that's great. So quick update on that one. So today's video, as I mentioned previously, I'm going to sublet the main bearings, so I don't have to make all drifts and boring or reaming or whatever to match the sizes. These bushes tend to shrink a bit as you put them in. Interference fit, they tend to crush a little bit, so you got to drift, ream them out, make sure they're all right. I could make all that stuff on my lathe or buy the tools and do it, but you know, then you've got to make sure the end float's all correct and all that. Some things are better for people who are already tooled up to do it, right? So more of a financial and time thing rather than a skill thing on my part. I could do it, but I'm just going to farm that out. It gives me a good head start. But to farm it out, I want to get all these vapor blasted and stuff, and they're full of stuff still, right? So we've got the super shiny SRM oil pressure doofer there. We've also got drain plugs and the cable retention thing for the alternator. We've also got the caps here that have got to come off, and we've also got gearbox bearings, main and lay shaft bearings. So this is the main shaft bearing, output shaft of the gearbox, or input shaft. Where the rear sprocket goes. And we've also got a needle roller bearing for the lay shaft there, both of which need to come out. So I started doing it, and I thought, oh, what am I doing? I need to video this, right? So I've levered the seal out. This is the seal for the main bearing. So I did lever it, and then I pushed it back in, thinking I need to film that, and that stuck because it was hot when I did it. Screwdriver. So you have to lever that out, which destroys it, obviously. So, but it's going to be replaced anyway. So. The seal's out. Behind the seal then is a circlip. You take the circlip out, and then you have to drift the bearing out and drift that bearing out. So it's going to involve heat and hammers and stuff like that. No problem, can do that. So yeah, this video is stripping this down, ready to go sublet. Cue some music. Okay, so that's ready. Yeah, those bearings came out quite nice. That's the needle roller bearing there. That's for the lay shaft in the transmission that runs in there. Early engines it was a bush, but later engines it's a needle roller. But when I was cleaning the gearbox, where did they all go? One moment, caller. Yeah, so when I was cleaning the gearbox, the needles fell out. These are the needles here, and that's the that's the bearing. So these needles are supposed to be in that needle roller bearing, and they all just fell out. So I don't know whether they had a bit of damage when they were drifted in or what, but they seem to have worked. There's no damage on the shaft. So yeah, they're the needles. That's the needle roller bearing. So obviously that needs replacing. So I'll put all that together there. Lovely jubbly. And then the main bearing is this one here. And feeling it, there's grit in it. All right. You know, the transmission was a bit shitty when I took it apart, and there is crap in there. Probably fine, but you know, it's in pieces, so I'll put a new one in. That'd be great. And a new seal, obviously. That new seal needs to go in. So bearing and seal to be replaced. Lay shaft to be replaced. I've got all the. I took off the. This is a blanking plug. This is where the old distributor used to go on the early engines, and that is like full of shit. It's just like an oil trap full of rubbish. So I've got to clean that out now. I'll put that in the parts washer again. The SRM oil pressure relief valve. God, that was tight. Proper tight. That was in there good and proper. But that's a beautiful bit of kit that is in it. Look at that stainless steel SRM part. Ooh. It's just sexy, that is. You know, I had to put heat on it to get it out. Just, yeah, proper tight. So that's that. That's also needs a bit of a parts wash as well. But apart from that, everything is out of there now. I might take these studs out. Before I don't know. Will I need the studs? Will they need the barrels? I don't think they will. Because one of them, this one, when we took the engine out, there was one that came out of the crankcase rather than the nut come off it, and I could not move it, right? So I had to cut through it to get it off the barrel. That nut is seized on that stud. So I put a hacksaw through it, took it off. So I'm going to have to replace one stud anyway. So I may as well replace them all for nice shiny ones, you know. And if you can remember one of the early videos where I had to use a 13mm Chinese knackered spanner to take off the quarter Whitworth nuts. Great news. I found my spanner. I found my ring spanner. There it is. There's the ring. Or actually, someone said that is not a ring spanner. It's a combination spanner. It is a combination spanner. That's an open-ended spanner. That's a ring spanner. It's a combination of the two. So I found my quarter Whitworth one, and where was it? Oh, it was on my lathe. I was using it on my lathe for something because my lathe's from 1958 and a lot of Whitworths on it. So found it, which is good. It means when I put it back on, I can use the right size spanner. So this half is ready for sublet, and the other half, this one, I'm gonna leave the main bearing in for now, because I think Pat wants to see where it is for end float and stuff like that, position and stuff. So I'm just gonna leave it in for now. You can drift that out; it's no problem. There's one plug to take off there, so might just do that if I can remember where my special tool is for that. Oh man, I've lost it. I'm at a point where I need to put all my tools away. It's gone. Gone, nowhere to be found. There it is. So, these things are quite big, right? So I tend to use this big old repair washer here and a nice backhoe nut fucker spanner. These are called different names all over the world, but they do one thing to nuts, hence the name. So that's coming out of there. I think that's it. So that one out, and these ones are ready to go. Good stuff. Good stuff. So what's next then? Well, next is I think there'll be a video of me dropping these off for sublet and a little talk about what we're going to do to them. So these are going. I'll take the crank because that'll need to be measured. I'll take the head because it's getting the oversized valve guide. I'll take the barrels and pistons because they're either going to get bored or swapped for a good pair. What else? I think that's it. So sublet stuff is ready to go. That's great. So next video will be either taking that or it will be doing a bit more on something else. I've still got loads of stuff to clean up and things. Loads of stuff to do on the bike itself. So yeah, brilliant progress. Thanks for watching.